I'm getting old. You know, I have some moments where I'm sitting at home, you know, just kind of working on stuff at my computer or working around the house and stuff like that, and, you know, just kind of doing my thing. And it's moments like that where I really start to get in this, like, self-reflection mode, and, you know, just to kind of look back on the things that I've done, you know, within the past couple of days, within the past week, within the past month, just within my life in general. Because I think it's a really good way to kind of figure out whereabouts you are in life and where you should be going next in the next step in your life. I know that shit sounds cliche as hell, but I mean, just because it's cliche doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, right? And as I was sitting here, you know, sipping on my third coffee for the afternoon, just kind of stroking my beard, contemplating, I thought to myself, damn, man, I'm getting hella old. Now, I can already tell there's a bunch of people in the comment section of this video who are clearly older than me, who are like, wait till you get to X age, you fucking youngin'. And it's not so much about, like, age, right? It's more so about, like, mentally, I'm getting a little bit old. So for context, as of me recording this video, I am 27 years old. I was talking to my sister just this morning. We're just kind of catching up. She lives in Australia and I live in Japan, obviously. So we have these like kind of calls every now and then, just like catch up and see what we've been up to, all that kind of stuff. It's also, you know, for me, it's a great way to also drag me back down to earth, you know, to really like talk to my sister just about life stuff, right? Siblings are great. As I was talking to her, I slowly had this like dreaded feeling, realizing that all the things that I've been getting into, or all the things that I've been really enjoying in my life recently, are stereotypically stuff that, you know, men of the older generation like to dabble in. Just as a wild example, as you guys may know if you follow me on my streams, twitch.tv/theanimeman, check me out, then you will know that I've been really getting into this one board game called Mahjong. You know, that board game that you see stereotypically a lot of like Asian men in their 70s and 80s playing. You know, you probably have that one Asian cousin or uncle that plays it like no tomorrow. At the age of 26, because I got into it last year, have just been enamored by this board game. If you were to ask me a couple of years ago, hey, in a couple of years' time, you're gonna get into this stereotypically old Asian man board game, then I would have been like, man, fuck off. There's no way I'll get into that shit. I'll be into like skateboarding, I'll be into like, you know, all these like cool, young type of sports. And look at me now. I love Mahjong. To be fair, I do realize that's a little bit of a cheap stereotype to throw out there, but it's a stereotype nonetheless. Another example that made me realize, damn, I'm getting old, just happened recently, last week, actually. For those of you who follow the Trash Taste podcast, you'll know about my manager, Maylene. I'm actually really good friends with Maylene's husband, who is this Japanese guy. Really, really cool guy. We've talked about him on the podcast a couple of times, but I like to go and hang out with him and try all sorts of different things with him, because he's open to doing all sorts of new stuff. I'm also open to doing all sorts of new stuff, so it's a great match made in heaven. And one of the new things that he has been recently getting into is golf. Yeah, again, that like stereotypically old man or just old person sport in general. He's a little bit older than me, but he invited me out, saying that, hey, there's a driving range kind of in a good place from your place and my place, so we should go and check it out. You want to go to the driving range together, play some golf with me? And I think the last time I went to a driving range was probably when I was like in high school, because there was this like driving range kind of close to my house, and I really enjoyed it personally. So I was like, yeah, you know, I haven't gone and done that in a while. Let's go whack a ball, dude. Let's go play some old man sport. And oh my god, I had so much fucking fun. There might be some people thinking, how could you get into like an old man sport like that? Trust me, you do not realize how satisfying it is when you manage to swing that golf club at just the right place and hit that ball in that right sweet spot where it just makes it cleanly fly off, and it is satisfying as hell. Also, I would like to come into golf's defense in saying that it is actually a rather physically taxing sport as well, because you're basically swinging your entire body around, right? And if you're doing that multiple times, I mean, as you do in a driving range, it starts to, you know, really use muscles that you don't normally use. I, for one, ended up, like, my forearms here hurting for, like, a day or so after the driving range, which I never thought I would actually do. I mean, that also might just come into the fact that, you know, because it's the pandemic right now, you can't really go outside, so I haven't just really been able to, like, move my body all that much. But regardless, that one driving range session dead ass made me almost buy a golf set. I thought, man, this is like a sport I could really get into if I like practice enough. And especially I feel if you have other friends to play the sport with and practice with, I think that's just like a great motivational like way to get into anything really. Like if you're doing it by yourself, it might be a little bit difficult to get into, but if you have other people around you, like friends around you who are willing to get into it with you, I think that's like a great way to get into new things. So I definitely recommend if you ever want to get into like new things, definitely like try and drag in a friend or like convince a friend to do it with you, because you're more likely to stick to it in that case. And then there are just some like other things that made me realize I'm a bit of an older man. Even on my streams and stuff, I'd much rather just be like chill and do, you know, like build gunplas and just like have like a fun time playing very loose games with friends. I like just like sitting on my balcony and playing my guitar every now and then just to relax. I love reading books. And I really think the straw that broke the camel's back in this instance was, again, when I was having that call with my sister, and I was reminded that I am turning 28 this year, which is just an age that I never thought I would actually get to. Not in like a dark, like I'm gonna die in my 20s kind of way, but you know, when you're like 16, 17 years old and you're in high school, which I'm sure a lot of people are who are watching this video, if you're like 16, 17, you're in high school right now, and you get that really stereotypical question of like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? And you really stop to think about that question, right? Like say if you're 17 years old, right? And you get asked the question, where do you see yourself in 10 years? That would make you 27 years old. I think any 17-year-old right now, if asked that question to imagine themselves at age 27, that would be like, there's no way to imagine that, because it's an infinite time away. It's so far away that it's beyond comprehension. And now that I'm at the age of 27, it's almost scary how blindingly fast that 10-year period has managed to catch up with me. And what's even scarier is the fact that, again, relatively, I'm not even that old physically. But it's just the fact that in these past 10 years, between getting asked that question of where do you see yourself in 10 years to now 10 years later, I've done so much with my life. At least I think I've done so much with my life. I don't even know, to be honest, because a lot of it's been so fast and has been such a blur. And really, the only saving grace in my case is the fact that most of my life between ages 17 to now, 27, is basically been documented on the internet. Like, most of my adolescent life, if not all of my adolescent life, is on YouTube. But either way, it's just like really scary to think that, you know, in a couple of years' time, I'm gonna be in my 30s, and I feel like I'm already there, just from the things that I'm getting into, you know, things that I never thought I would get into at this age, let alone ever. And I think just overall, the fact that, like, I'm content with that, I think is just really telling of how far I've come personally. And it's just one aspect of me that I would like to, like, give myself a pat on the back for, right? Is the fact that I almost don't even care if people see the things that I'm into and see the way that I think about, you know, this concept of age and stuff like that in a very, like, old head, like, you know, mature, over mature type of way. Because it's like, I think I've just, like, learned to accept that this is just me and this is what I like. You know, Aki was saying the other day, how are you more of a dad than most dads out there with all of the things you're into? And I thought about it and I'm like, I'm totally okay with that. Like, I love all the shit that I've been getting into, and it's great. It's been, like, really refreshing almost to be like, yeah, I'm into all of these, like, old man sports and old man activities, and I'm, like, totally okay with it. Like, I fucking love it. I think it really is that, like, kind of nirvana moment where you realize that, you know, just because the people around you of the same age group are getting into these, like, really, like, young and in the moment, you know, like, age-appropriate type of things, it doesn't necessarily mean you need to as well, especially if it's something that you're personally not all that interested in. I guess what I'm trying to say with this video is that, I'm getting old. I'm getting older, and I'm not gonna stop getting older, but I'm totally okay with it. I'm totally content with it, and I'm loving where my life is right now. I'm loving the fact that I'm into things like mahjong and golf and fucking, drinking my third coffee for the afternoon and enjoying every little sip of it. And if there's anything I want to say to you younger generation out there, especially if you're in like high school and you get asked the question of where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years time, and it seems like an infinite time away, it really isn't. You will be at my age in no time at all. So in that time, you best prepare yourself, mentally at least, that the fact that you will be 27, 28, in your late 20s very soon. But rest assured that you also have plenty of time to like really figure out what kind of 30-year-old you want to be, what kind of person you want to be in 10 years time. And regardless of if it's age appropriate or not, I think the best thing is to just like learn the fact that you should just be proud of yourself. You should be content with yourself. You should be proud of what kind of old fart 27-year-old you are. But speaking of learning about yourself, learning new things, just learning in general, I'd like to quickly end off this video by talking about our sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of online classes and members across 150 countries who come together to find inspiration and take the next step in their creative journey. You can literally learn anything on Skillshare, just name it, just search for it, and there will be a course out there, whether it is about something physical, like a physical skill you want to learn, anything that can help you to grow and learn and become a better person, or to just be, if you're just curious about a certain topic. Skillshare pretty much has it all. And since we're talking about self-care and self-learning, you can find that on Skillshare as well. If you're interested in something like that, then I personally recommend The Ultimate Self-Care Playbook, Discover and Nurture Your Centered Self by Jonathan Van Ness. And of course, just for you guys, the first 1,000 people to use my link will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So if you're interested in that, make sure to check the description below. And thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. And I guess thank you guys as well for listening to me ramble. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to smack my face right here to subscribe to the channel. Let's keep making big channel number go bigger. Over here next to my head is a couple more videos you can check out if you enjoyed this one, and feel free to hit your boy up on social media. All that is down in the description below. But yeah, I'm getting old. We're all getting old. But I think as long as you're enjoying life, there's nothing wrong with that. Stay safe, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!